Welcome to She is Resilient, a podcast for women on their healing journeys who are ready to start living their most authentic and empowered lives outside of survival mode. I'm your host, Tatiana, trauma and somatic therapist, as well as a holistic coach, and I'm on a mission to help more women heal their nervous systems. Each week, me and my guests are going to get real and vulnerable about the experiences that led us to becoming the empowered and resilient women we are today. You'll leave this podcast with the skills, knowledge, and inspiration to start creating the life you deserve. Because if another woman can do it, so can you. Welcome back to another episode of She is Resilient. I'm really excited about today's episode because I have a very special guest today, a former Embodied Healing Collective client and Somatic Experiencing client. Liset, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Tell the audience who you are and what you do for a living.
Well, hi, I'm so excited to be here. It's been such an incredible journey, just getting to know you and working with you over the course of just about a year, I think, and just seeing so much progress. And yeah, my name's Lisette, and I'm a well-being coach for women of color who are first generation, second generation, who really struggle with their well-being. And for me, the way I define well-being is, not just the yoga and the smoothies and all of the petties and the nails, which I love all those things. Okay. Not to hate on those things, but I think just our culture can go a little bit deeper with our definition of well-being and it can encompass emotional well-being, our nervous system regulation, even our community and how we relate to each other and our relationships. And yeah, so I'm a well-being coach, and I'm a first generation Latina. So I grew up in East LA and to immigrant parents, and for me, I was raised to work hard and I had this definition of success that was very outward. And, I think my parents did the best they could and they, raised me the way they did because they wanted me to be successful. But for me, always striving for achievement just created so many physical issues and so many emotional issues that I started to confront in my early 20s and now into my 30s. And so that my upbringing and my background really inspired me to seek out personal development and understand healing and understand my emotions and understand how all of these things connected and discover somatic experiencing. And I love to learn, so I'm always picking up new ways of looking at healing or looking at my background or how can I understand what's happening in my body, what's happening in my external and internal reality, and how can I reflect. And after doing this work since my early 20s, and I really wanted to share that with others, and which is what inspired me to become a coach. And it's, as it's a constant, it's constantly evolving. There's always something to learn. And yeah, I really value being in this community and getting the chance to share my story with others.
Absolutely. And I'm so thankful for you to be part of this community. And I feel like we need more women of color in the healing spaces. And I love that you are first gen. As a first gen, we kind of had to like figure things out on our own. We're breaking so many generational cycles. And, especially in our culture, mental health isn't talked about, healing isn't really part of our vocabulary, right? And I feel like we really need more women of color, especially first gens, kind of leading the way and showing the path. And I feel like, when people listen to our stories, when people hear, like, oh my gosh, we were able to break these generational cycles, we were able to figure it out, and look at where they are now, I can do it too. And I feel like that's really what this podcast is all about, right? It's about inspiring and educating and really helping all women thrive. And so I appreciate you for being here, and I'm so thankful that you're willing to share your story with us, because I feel like that's also a very vulnerable thing to do.
Yeah, it's so important, and I'm so fortunate that I feel so fortunate that I discovered you because that it was just perfect timing in my life where I was really ready to take a look at my nervous system and understand that I was living in survival mode for so long, and you're leading the way and helping women heal their nervous system, and it's such powerful work. So yeah, just a side note of gratitude there.
Thank you.
And
I'm receiving that.
yeah, I know. And learning how to
Yes.
receive that from each other, right? That appreciation and supporting one another is also so important. And yeah, I love this question because it really helped me just take a pause and reflect on how far I've come and where it all started for me. And and the moment I can really think of is when I was, in college. I really struggled in college as first generation. I didn't have that support both financially and emotionally, but I was so used to doing things on my own. And, I was that uh, high achieving student who always got the grades. I was like president of every single club at my high school. And I was just really, trying to meet my parents' expectations and my family's expectations because they worked so hard. And when I got to school, I left home and it was, such a change. And I was, I started drinking a lot and I just felt so lost. And I ended up dropping out of school and going back home. And at the time, I felt so much shame for, I felt like I failed because I wasn't able to leave home and I struggled so much in school, but I wasn't sharing this with anyone. I was just holding it all in. And when I went back home, my sister was pursuing a degree in psychology. And so she had all these personal development books just kind of hanging around our house. And I started reading one of them. And I remember one of the stories was about how to boil frogs.
Oh.
And the way, because if you turn the heat, if you put them in hot water, they'll just jump out. But if you put them in water and you slowly turn the heat up, then they don't notice it and they end up dying, which is pretty morbid. But but that was like this random little personal development book that I read and like, oh, this is how I feel. Like this is like this slow, like there's this constant anxiety, there's this constant feeling of like, oh, I'm not doing enough. That is just hurting me. And and I just came to terms with, oh, I'm like these are my emotions. Like I'm just feeling. And I just was allowing myself to kind of have those feelings and um, understand that I was suffering and what I was going through. And that was really the first time that I was open to that part of myself, that emotional side of myself. And from then on, I just continued, you know, reading a lot of personal development. And at that time, it was a lot of folks who didn't look like me. It was like, the a lot of white guys in personal development and in reading a lot of their books
Mm-hmm.
and and most of the information was helpful, but a lot of the authors just weren't reflect didn't reflect my own culture, didn't reflect my identity. And a few years back, I was just at a point in my life where I had, I work in nonprofit, I work in the nonprofit industry. So I was during the pandemic, I was very burnt out. I decided to leave my job and move away from, at the time, I was in Portland, Oregon. And so I really felt like I needed change. And I had the opportunity to really just deepen my work, my healing work. And during that time, I was doing, inner child healing workshops and really dedicate myself to, what brings me joy, like what fulfills me, instead of just pursuing the things that looked good on paper, and pursue things that felt good internally for myself. And so, yeah, I got into this program, and I started writing because I love writing. And I started writing a blog. I started coaching women. My practice is called Core Luna Coaching. And, and just being in this space, and I knew I wanted to do more nervous system work and somatic work. And that's when I discovered you. And so it's just been this evolution. It started with this little book and just curiosity of wanting to learn and wanting to understand, really starting from the basics of having an emotional language and putting name to, oh, yeah, I'm feeling angry or I'm feeling sad. And there's so much power in just validating yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's how it started for me. It was just so simple of, I am human, and I'm allowed to express these emotions. I'm allowed to have an emotional life, because so much of my upbringing, we didn't talk about emotions. We didn't talk about anger or how it was expressed or how it wasn't being expressed. Everything was kind of tossed under the rug.
Yeah.
I always think about the phrase too, like calladita te ves más bonita, like you
Yes.
look prettier when you're quiet. And I was like, I don't want to be quiet anymore. Like, I have things to say, and I have emotions that want to be expressed, and it's
Mm-hmm.
hurting me to not express them. And you don't live fully, and you don't get to be fully yourself when you don't have that freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just, that kind of catapulted me into this journey. And I've been on this journey for, more than a decade now. And I keep finding like-minded women who, either through mindfulness, or, there's mindset work and
Mm-hmm.
mindfulness work, and then now discovering somatic work. So it just continues to deepen. So I started with emotions, and then I've started practicing mindfulness and connecting more with my body. And you kind of like start adding these layers, and you start deepening it. And that's what it's been like for me over this last, you know, few years. I would say over a decade.
Yeah, I love that. It's really like a snowball effect, right? Like once you start, it's like, ooh, and then you just keep learning something new, and you get deeper and deeper. Like you were saying, you just start learning more about like the healing space and all of the other healing modalities that are out there to really deepen that healing. I'm curious to know, um, what were you experiencing either in your mind or in your body, physically or emotionally, that made you say, okay, I think somatic experiencing is my next step? What was that kind of like moment where you were like, I need to do something different?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, like, I've done so much personal development work. I know the journaling, I know the mindset work,
Yeah.
um, all of that. And so that's something that I carry through. But for me, I was still experiencing, especially after the pandemic, I was still experiencing so much anxiety and so many physical symptoms in my body of, just tension in my jaw or digestive issues. And I just thought, this isn't something is off. Like something I need to really understand what's happening in my body and connect to my body
Mhm.
more. And so just through learning, like through some of the coaches that I follow and like personal development folks that I follow, I started hearing more about somatic work.
Mhm.
And so it just kind of became, I just became more aware of it.
Mhm.
And I was just really curious about it. And then you, as a practitioner, just became like you just kind of showed up at the perfect timing where I was really ready to pursue it because it just had been something that was on my mind for a long time. And it was unlike anything I had done in the personal development space. And I've done therapy too. I was in therapy for, a few years. And so I knew that I fully understood my trauma. Like I have such a strong understanding of it. Like I could tell you exactly like these are my triggers. This is what happened to me. This is how I experience it, and this is how it impacts me. And but knowing is so different from actually feeling it
Mhm.
and discharging the trauma and just learning how to regulate your nervous system and not being in a survival state.
Oh.
And and so yeah, that was the motivation for me. It was kind of like this slow, like, gradually and gradually I just became more and more aware of it and until I was finally ready and I think the right person I think shows up when you need them, right? Like I really believe that. And so I think you were like the right therapist for me at the right moment for me to start diving deeper into that work.
Mhm. And I appreciate you for trusting me and feeling like I was the right person in that during that time. You said something really important, and I feel like it's the mic drop moment. It's knowing is so different than feeling, right? And I think that's it right there, right? Because I think that we do all of this mindset work. We understand our trauma, we understand our triggers, we understand our symptoms, and yet there's something that's still missing,
Hmm.
right? And that missing link is the body piece, right? It's reconnecting with the body and really healing the body at the root. And so I love that you said that. And we worked together for about did we have 6 somatic experiencing sessions before you signed up for Embodied Healing Collective? I feel like it was around 6.
Yeah, I think because I signed up for like a couple one-offs and then I did one of the packages. So about like a significant amount.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe even like 7, 8 or a little
Hmm.
more. And so I'd love to hear from your experience, what made you want to sign up for Embodied Healing Collective after you were already doing this one-on-one work? What made you say, okay, I think Embodied Healing Collective would be the next step for me?
Yeah. Well, I loved our sessions. Like, and I think I felt the impact right away. I was in a really toxic job environment and it felt like it was so frustrating to me because it felt like I was repeating a cycle and I was stuck in the cycle of, oh, why am I continuing to have these experiences at work? And you really helped me connect with a lot of anger, and that needed to be released. And I remember the moment where during one of our sessions, as I was connecting to my body, I was able to connect with that anger and really clearly say, like, I'm done. Like,
Mhm.
I'm done with these work environments. I'm done with this type of treatment. And it was so powerful. And I felt so empowered in my body. And I felt like I could finally feel my anger and use it with so much purpose. And so when you told me about Embodied Healing Collective, I was like, yes, like I want to deepen this work. And I also know that it's so powerful to do this type of work in community, having done group coaching programs. And it's really powerful to also learn that everyone's on their journey. Like, I am not the only person who has experienced really difficult things, who is reconciling their past and breaking generational patterns. And it's, you see how hard it is and how amazing it is that we are doing it differently, or we're trying our best to find a different pathway.
Mhm.
And I was able to leave that job. So much I credit to doing this work, because I left the job without having something lined up. But I really trusted my decision. I really listened to my body,
Mhm.
and I was able to find something way more aligned that
Mhm.
feels way more safe for my nervous system now, which is
Yes.
incredible. And,
And you got the
you know,
phone call while you were in an Embodied Healing Collective session. We were
yes,
on the live call together, and you were like, I think it's the job calling me. And we're like, go, 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 go answer the phone.
it was amazing. I am so happy I got to share that moment because yeah, it just felt so fitting. Like the timing of it too. And I'll be honest, with when Embodied Healing Collective started, like in earlier this year in February or March, I was so tired. I was really burnt out. I was just feeling, you know, I was feeling doubtful. Like, did I make the right decision? Like, there was so much coming up for me. And I was also feeling a little scared to dive deeper into the somatic work. I was really nervous. I thought, oh, what if something really like bad comes up? Or like, what if there's something wrong with me? Because I was still learning to be comfortable with the discomfort in my body.
Mhm.
And, but I still showed up even through the fear. And I would say, like, I'm feeling really, because every session, we ground ourselves and we feel into our bodies, which is such an amazing practice to just start the session off with that grounding.
Mhm.
And I would say, I'm feeling resistant today, but that was just my nervous system being like, this is unfamiliar, this is different. But over time, doing that every week, I built the capacity to be uncomfortable
Mhm.
and know that it was okay to feel that discomfort. Like, I could feel a discomfort and I could also feel
Mhm.
other things in my body at the same time. And I didn't have to create this panic
Mhm.
that, oh, there's something wrong. Like, it's just, no, I'm a human
Yeah.
and I'm doing something different. And this is how my body is responding. And I don't have to change it. I can just feel it. And that was incredible during the whole collective. And it's my experience with the Embodied Healing Collective was also that it's all these small, seemingly small changes week to week. You're telling us, we're learning a new tool, or how to set boundaries, or you're walking us through all these exercises, and you don't really feel like you're doing a whole lot of work. Like,
Mhm.
I think our culture kind of brands transformation or personal development. It's like you're gonna have these big moments, these like big aha moments, and you have to change your life or you have to take all this huge action. And for me, I'm like, wow, the small, consistent changes were the most impactful. And we would have our, we had our bonus sessions, and you would just say, connect with your body. Just
Mhm.
keep connecting with your body. Like check in with your body. And for me, because I'm a over like I still have overachieving perfectionist tendencies, right? Which I learned is just nervous system dysregulate my nervous system being dysregulated.
Mhm.
I struggled with that because like, no, it has to be harder. Like it has to be harder than this. Like it can't be so simple. Like give me the homework, give me the challenge. Like I will do it. But no, it's actually that. It's actually very simple
Mhm.
and really easy. It's just so much unlearning and rewiring and being still and being present.
Mhm.
But feeling present now, like both feel all the, I can feel all of the range of emotions. Like I'm not labeling, like I was something that I used to do a lot was label feelings as good or bad.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this, I don't want to feel the bad stuff, but I just want to feel the good stuff.
Mhm.
And now I have the capacity to feel the full range
Yeah.
and I don't label, I don't label one feeling. Oh, I feel tired or, even, I just started my new job and I've been feeling overwhelmed and I've been feeling stressed. And I used to, maybe like a year ago or 2 years ago, I would like, oh no, this is stressful. Like there's something wrong.
Mhm.
And now I say, oh, I'm stressed. It
Yeah.
makes sense that I'm stressed out. This is new. And like, how can I support myself? What
Yeah.
does my body need? Like, can I rest more? Can I slow down? What are these little habits? So it's
Mhm.
the collective is incredible. It was so transformative. I miss our weekly calls so much and the women too are just spectacular. They're so incredible. So it was great timing and I'm glad that I signed up.
Thank you so much for all of this. I feel like you just described everything so perfectly. And I think you're so right. I think in our culture, in our society, we want to have these aha moments or like this huge release, right? Of like, right, we start to think that healing trauma and healing the nervous system has to be this big release, right?
Right.
But healing trauma and healing the nervous system really does happen in those little tiny steps, right? And it happens so subtly that you do sometimes leave sessions like, what did I just do? Like, what are we even doing here? And then a week later, 2 weeks later, however long later, you're like, oh, wow, I actually don't have that strong reaction like I did in the past, right? And you also mentioned how um, now you can feel the full range of emotions, which is exactly what we want, right? We want to feel the full range of emotions. We want to be able to experience anger and anxiety and overwhelm, but in a way that doesn't feel overwhelming, right? It's not like we go into like a panic, right?
Right.
And we want to be able to have that flexibility. And I feel like that's exactly what you're experiencing now, right? Like you can feel stress at work and it's okay, or you can feel really tired and it's okay. And I also want to touch on the resistance piece because I think that so often when we start this work, I don't think you're alone in this, right? So many people start to feel resistant and connecting to your body is really scary, especially if you've never done it before. And I know that you said that you just kept showing up, but if there are people who are like, I know that this must be the missing link, but I do feel resistance. What do you have any words of wisdom or encouragement for them? Because I think it's so common, it's so normal. And I think that if somatic healing, if reconnecting and healing your nervous system is the missing link, then we have to kind of build that capacity to be with that resistance a little bit. So, what words of wisdom or encouragement do you have, if any, if someone's like, yeah, like, I don't know, what's gonna come up, what's gonna show up if I connect with my body?
Yeah, well, like you said, I think normalizing it, that we all feel resistance because it is something new, it's something scary, that and validating that. And this is scary, like this is different. Um, I don't know what's going to come from this, and feeling into that uncertainty. The thing that helped me continue showing up is, honoring that decision for myself, and honoring the part of me that really wanted to heal and that had that sort of hopefulness. And you could call it maybe like the inner child, or like your higher self, that for some reason, if you're curious about this work, or if you're curious even about coaching, or there's a reason for it. And I think you owe yourself at least trying, at least giving it a shot. And I would recommend, like, if you are curious about the Embodied Healing Collective, to just try somatic experiencing first, and see how your body responds. And one of the things that you told me to, that I really value, is building the capacity, right? And so some things our culture too tells us to just do it, just do the thing that scares you. And for me, I'm like, oh, actually, no, that fear is telling you something. It's okay to take it slow, listen to your body, and do the thing that maybe feels a little less scary. And so if you do feel resistance, what you can do is, you know, take a step back, take a smaller step. And maybe the smaller step is talking to you, or just doing a discovery call, doing something that doesn't feel as overwhelming. And then once you do that, you feel, oh, this wasn't so bad, and then you go back to it. um and so for me, that was also really helpful to, I felt the resistance at first, and then I just kept at it, and then it lessens, and then it lessens. But I wasn't, I didn't jump into the deep end right away. We had, 6 or 7 sessions together, and I had listened to your podcast, and I had been following you on Instagram. So I started, developing this trust, and I started learning about your story. So you weren't this stranger that I was like, is this person, who is this person? Um, and so all those little things, I think, build safety and help sort of manage that resistance. And I think once you get to the other side of the healing, and you feel more empowered, and you feel more, one of the most powerful things during our sessions for me is feeling super present, and the calmness that comes with feeling so present and in my body. And every time we could reach that point, after you were, kind of took me through when I was really activated and then coming back down. Wow, I love the feeling of being able to be fully present with someone, or being able to take in a lot of the good feelings too. And you would remind me to acknowledge, like, when I left my job, or when I, do something that really feels good. I can really feel into that, or even feeling supported and feeling loved. I linger in those feelings a lot more. And I can slow down and pause, instead of just like going from, because I was like, we're all taught to be in that survival state of like, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? And your mind is always racing. Like, that is, you're in a state of flight. You're just running to the next thing, and not really feeling into your body. And that is so liberating. And I want so many other women to be able to experience that. Like you can feel like it feels so good to just feel present and feel at ease.
Absolutely.
And
Oh
it's
my God.
even though it's scary.
Yes, yes. Oh, I love this so much. And one of my favorite things about doing this work, I have lots of favorite things, but one of my favorite things is, when I hear other people start to speak in the way that like I kind of speak about the nervous system. Like I love
Yeah.
how you just said, like when I have racing thoughts or when my mind is going, that's the flight state. And it's like, yes, you've got it. Like, and I love that so much because now that you've healed your nervous system, you can help other people heal their nervous systems. And it becomes this domino effect. And I love that so much, right? Like, once we heal ourselves, we can really truly start to heal other people. And that's what we want. We want to just kind of continue to have that domino effect, to continue to like spread that wisdom with other people and inspire other people and let other people know that yes, you can heal too, and you don't have to stay in this place forever. You don't have to stay in survival mode forever. So this is just one of my favorite things. And I love all of the insight and wisdom that you have and your experience with this work with Somatic Experiencing and with Embodied Healing Collective. And I love the advice that you shared of taking a smaller step, right? Like if you've never done somatic work, then jumping right into Embodied Healing Collective may feel overwhelming, right? And so how can we take those smaller steps? Maybe it is one somatic experiencing session. And as you were talking about this, I was thinking about all of the women who were in Embodied Healing Collective this round, and all of them did have multiple somatic experiencing sessions with me. And so I think you're right on that. I think that making that small step first, even if it's just one session first, can help you really make that decision of like, yeah, actually, I think embodied healing would be the next step for me. So thank you for sharing that because I actually didn't put the two together until you started talking about it. One thing that I do want to point out and really highlight is something that stands out about the work that we did together. When we first started out, and I've already mentioned this to you privately, but I remember when we first started out, you had shared that you really wanted to invest more time and energy into your business and coaching, but there was this fear of being seen. And I would love for you to talk a little bit more about your experience with this because I feel like it's been such a significant shift from the first time, I started working with you until now.
Oh my gosh, yes. And remembering that those early conversations and how timid I was and how uncertain it felt. And now that I'm on your podcast is
Yes.
incredible. Like what a journey. Yeah, well, all my healing journey, all the work I've done with personal development, it was something that I really didn't share with a lot of friends or family. It was something that I just did kind of privately on my own. Even with I remember feeling, I did maybe a inner child healing workshop like 4 or 5 years ago now. And I remember feeling really nervous to tell my husband. I was like, "Oh, I'm signing up for this thing," and even bringing him into the fold of my personal development journey was a little nerve-wracking because it's not common. Um, I've found so many more coaches, and I think there's like this blossoming and this uh, uptick now of more coaches, more diversity in the coaching and the wellness space. But I think it still needs a lot of work, to be honest, because it's not very diverse, and you don't find so many people who you can relate to. At least that was my experience. And yeah, for me, it's just something that because of my upbringing, and I spoke a little bit about this earlier on of like all the expectations that I have put on me about being successful and what success looked like were all these like external factors. And I would, chase the next job title, or I was thinking, oh, maybe I'll get a master's degree because that's going to be successful. But the more I've been on this journey, the more I've connected with myself. I've been able to connect with what I really value and the work that I really want to be doing. And for me, it's been coaching, it's been writing, it's being creative. And even during our sessions, I remember, feeling into that feeling of stuckness and pressure and expectation and how heavy it felt in my body and how tense I would feel. And then feeling this other side of creativity and pers- doing my own thing and having my own pursuits and really leaning more into my voice and into my gifts and how freeing that felt. And it started small, like just those small shifts of wow, like I can I can create more space for this feeling through, writing my blog, through pursuing coaching, through feeling seen. And we also worked on the feelings of shame or that came up and feelings of uncertainty of oh, are people and the fear of judgment, like what are people gonna think. But again, like that's just my body being dysregulated in that fear state. And I learned like, oh, that's just a old pattern. And being able to feel that shame or the fear of judgment and just sitting with it and being like, oh, okay, like this is coming up for me and I can feel it and not let it hold me back
Mm-hmm.
from pursuing the things that bring me joy.
Mm-hmm.
That, I'm not putting any expectation or pressure on myself, but like I get to be playful with my journey now. And maybe a few years ago, if I was pursuing this, I would be, putting all these unrealistic goals and unrealistic expectations on myself. Like I have to get X amount of clients and I have to be like, I would have this really rigid image of success. And like, you know what? Like I allow myself to now to just pursue it and be content with it in the moment when it feels good, if it feels stressful, and just kind of have this curiosity and lightness to it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because ultimately, I'm trusting that I'm pursuing this for a reason. Like I enjoy it. This is what I want to be doing. This is how I want to help other women.
Mm-hmm.
And after I've done it, it's felt really good for me and it feels really purposeful and it feels really fulfilling. And I can trust that. I can trust that moment and that's it. And, go from there instead of, making it a whole big goal or have this huge expectation. And so I think that's through all of our work together, just continuing to, like break out of these habits, build capacity for feeling all of that fear and learning how to shift out of it
Mm-hmm.
has helped me get to the place where I feel safe being seen
Yes.
and I feel just more capacity for safety and in my
Mm-hmm.
body too. So it's, yeah, full credit to you for, for helping me get to that space because it is really incredible for me to reflect on that journey and have I just have that such strong memories of all those conversations and all those shifts. And And, like I said earlier, with somatic work, it feels like you're not doing much. And
Mhm.
then over time,
Yeah.
it feels like this huge wave
Mhm.
and you feel so much different. And I think that's how I'm feeling now, after so many sessions together and after Embodied Healing Collective.
Yeah, and this is proof that just the simple fact that you're here on this podcast, right? And side note, Lisette pitched herself to me, which
Yeah.
is a huge deal. Just putting yourself out there, right? It's not easy, especially, this is just evidence that you can heal, right? Going from that fear of being seen to pitching yourself and sharing your story and now being here on this podcast, right? Like that's a big deal. And I really appreciate you saying that it's full credit to me, but I cannot take all of that credit. And I say this to all of my clients because I am the same person and I do the same thing with every client. And yes, a lot of my clients do get that transformation and results, but not every single client, right? Because what really matters is you, right? And the work that you're putting into it and your willingness to keep showing up and your willingness to continue to trust yourself and bring your awareness back into your body. And so I can take just a little bit of credit, but I'm not going to take all of the credit. It's really you, and I just appreciate you, and I'm so proud of you. And it's honestly, I've said this before, but it's been an honor just to witness your transformation and your journey. And this is what I love about this work. I know how powerful it is, and I know how people can truly transform their lives and really start to live their lives more, do something that feels more fulfilling, right? Thrive in their career, in their personal life, in their relationships, right? In all of the ways, because really the foundation to everything is your nervous system. And once we can trust that, once we can lean into that, I always say this, the world is your oyster, right? Like the possibilities are endless.
Yes. Oh my gosh, absolutely. And yeah, and it looks different for everybody, right? Like for me, it was connecting with my body. For me, it created this desire for using my voice more, for writing, for
Mhm.
coaching, and for slowing down. And it could look different for so many different people, which is the magic of it, right? Like your
Yeah.
journey is going to look different, and who knows what could come of it. But feeling more present,
Mhm.
feeling more safety, not feeling stuck, not being like tense and in survival state. It really, yeah, it's completely possible, like to heal. For those out there who are unsure, it is possible, and there's so much community too that can come with it, which is also just a huge bonus that there's people who are out here to help you on your journey too.
Absolutely. Yay. Any last words or wisdom or advice or insights before we tell the audience how they can connect with you?
Mm, Goodness. I don't think so. I mean, we covered so much ground. Yeah, I think last words is really to just to give yourself a shot. And if you're curious, take a small step,
Mhm.
and you never know where it's gonna lead you. But that first step is really powerful, and honoring your desire to heal, because it's so transformative, it's so powerful, and you're you can set yourself on a path to not only for yourself but also the people around you.
Mhm.
And maybe it's the next generation, and it takes a lot of courage to break patterns. So know that also it's also a big deal, and it's okay that it feels scary because it is, and it's very transformative.
Lisette, how can people connect with you and what do you have going on?
Well, there's a few ways you can stay connected with me. I have a biweekly newsletter through my website and coaching practice called Core Luna. And I also offer a couple different coaching packages. So I have 3 month and 6 month coaching packages. So I work with women who are, struggling with asking for help and perfectionism and who really don't know how to rest or put their well-being first. And like in my own journey, it was hard for me to prioritize those things, but I know the importance and the power in doing those things. So I really support women on their well-being journeys, and so I'd love to work with folks. Yeah, those are all the ways you can connect. And I love also to share what I'm doing, my own healing journey. I'm always learning, so I'm always love to share my insights or the things that I'm struggling with, because I'm human, and you're never really complete, but you do heal, and you do build more capacity, and you do transform. But I feel like there's always more to learn.
Absolutely. Yes. The best coaches are the ones who have been through it, right? Who have gone through the healing, have been through the transformation, and now are on the other side of healing. And so just kind of keep that in mind, right? Like Lisette has been through it and she knows what it feels like to be someone in the middle of all like the hardness of the healing journey and is also on the other side. And especially with this new knowledge of nervous system work and somatic experiencing, I know that you are an amazing coach. So if you're interested, please check out her website and her blog and her newsletters. I think that you could really benefit from it and gain so much insight and wisdom from her.
Thank you so much. I'm receiving that.
Yes.
I'm feeling that. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's it's just so wonderful to be in community with you and share this space and have this conversation, which is so timely and so important. And thank you for everything you do and what you're doing, and how you're just leading us with this work. That's It's just not easy, but it's so powerful.
Yes. Thank you for being a part of it. I feel like we could go on and on with complimenting each other.
I know, right? That's going to
Just
be the
go back and
podcast.
forth.
So, like a
Yeah.
love fest. We're like, what's happening?
Yeah. Alrighty, Lisette. Thank you again for being here, and we'll definitely keep in touch.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you so much for joining me today. If you absolutely loved this episode, I would so appreciate it if you subscribed and left a review on Apple Podcast, or take a screenshot and share this episode on social media. Don't forget to tag me at tatiana.holistic.coach. The more nervous systems we reach, the more generational cycles we break, and the more we contribute to a kinder and safer world. And if you're looking for somatic healing services, send me a DM and I'd love to chat on how I can support you. I'll see you in the next episode.